Axie Infinity has become one of the highest play to earn games in recent months, and with more people wanting to get on it, and with my whole 3.5 weeks of experience, I wanted to share with you 5 of the things I wish I knew before I started to get into it, or just after I've started my journey. Welcome in everyone, my name's Andy, and I appreciate you taking some time to come and watch this video on the channel. Today we're talking about Axie Infinity and 5 of the things I wish I knew before I get started, and sort of implementing some of the things I wish I knew once I'd actually gotten started. These are some of the tips I've thought of as I've actually played the game a little bit more, and some of the things you can do to better yourself as a player or investor before you get in. First thing I want to talk about is the cards themselves. They are so much more important than most of us when we're first beginning actually think. And no matter how much research you do, there's always going to be sort of mistakes that you make when you're buying into Axie Infinity. There's different move sets, there's different class sets that work better than others. You can really manipulate all 3 of your cards to work in the best way possible together to help you win more games on the servers. One of the best things I've used is Axies, where it actually lays out all of the card sort of tiers, where they lie and how good they are. Now, of course, some cards in B, C, D tiers actually work really well when combined with other ones, so you've got to sort of take it with a grain of salt. But what I would recommend is watching some pros before you get started, figuring out why they use certain moves and why they have things combined together to see what benefits it actually gives them. Certain cards give certain benefits of the game. So if we just take this aquatic card for an example, you'll see here that they have Koi as their tail, which is the upstream swim card. And what this actually does is apply speed to the Axie for 2 rounds when combined with another aquatic class card. Now, if you're just getting started, you'll know that the aquatics aren't usually as fast as bird backliners. And that means if you use upstream swim with another card, you can therefore become faster than the bird for 2 rounds when used correctly. And this allows people to win so many more games with just a simple card decision. Yes, the bird is mostly faster than the aquatics, and if they can take them out before they get to the backline, then they've won. However, it doesn't always go that way, and there's a lot to think about when you're purchasing your first Axies, and know that the cards play such a significant role in what you do. The second thing we're going to talk about is experience in earning SLP. Now, in the beginning, I was really stupid, and I didn't realize that you actually had to have energy to earn XP in adventure mode. When you're playing on PvP, you have to have energy to actually earn SLP. I know that's really stupid to think that I didn't know this, but that is the case for anyone starting out. You need to make sure that you have energy when wanting to earn SLP online and to earn XP offline. Now that they've lowered the SLP in adventure mode to 50 maximum, it doesn't matter as much because you still need to play the 10 games your daily quest complete. So you really don't need to get up your Axies that high of a level in the beginning as it used to be 100. However, it's still important to get them up to a decent rank that you can actually get this within the 10 games, and you can complete the 50 within the 10 games that you actually play. So I would recommend the first week that you play to just do adventure mode, because 1, this helps you understand your own players and the cards that they use, so you can learn combos, you can learn which cards work best together, and you can learn how the Axies sort of interact and where to position yours for the best results. In the first few weeks of playing, you can actually see in the video that I've made what I made in the first week of playing the game. It was around $211 I think in the first week that I was playing. However, that has changed now due to the SLP dropping, and if you don't have that great of a team, then you may be earning less in PvP. After that, I would recommend spending all of your 20 energy in PvP mode and then doing the 10 games offline. Once you've got your levels offline consistent, and that just allows you to earn the most that you can in the quickest time. For me, I often spend just over an hour each morning playing the game to get the maximum that I can with the 20 energy and completing the offline challenges. It obviously depends how much you win or lose, what you get. And I usually range from between 110 to 150 SLP a day with a really average team. The third one is the best Axies to buy at the start. And this is obviously just a personal point, and you have to decide what you think is going to work for you, what you think is going to work for the long run, and what your actual goals are. But something I'm going to mention is about the breeding process in the beginning. If you're just someone who wants to put in some money, play a game, and then earn money back, you don't need to worry about how many breeds a card has. Choose the cards that work best for you, and this is where using Axie Zone can work really well for you. This is where seeing what the pros are using can work really well. Now, of course, the ones that all the pros are using are going to be a lot more expensive, but you can get incredible cards for quite cheap if you're just searching on the market, you understand the game a little bit more, and why I would really recommend to do your own research before starting to figure out what cards you want and why. Just as a quick sort of basis, you want 3 cards that have sort of roles. You have your tank in the front, you have your midliner who's to do damage, which is usually beast, reptile or aquatic, and then you have your backliner who's meant to be the fastest and does the most damage but often has a little bit less health. So some people choose aquas, some people choose reptiles, some people choose birds. There's a lot of things you can do, but these are the most common. Now what you want in your front card and your tank card is often something that has the most health so that it can take a lot of damage, and also cards that have the potential to steal energy or gain energy through being attacked. This way you're able to earn more energy online and therefore use more cards in your game to defeat your opponent. Energy is such a crucial thing in online, as well as the cards that you actually have, and I didn't learn this until a few weeks in. Knowing how these work and how your cards can be used to their advantage is so important. Your midliner is often someone who does a lot of damage but can also take a fair hit as well. I've got a beast as my midliner. A lot of people are choosing the aquatic route at the moment, and some people are choosing the reptile route as well. Now for me, I know my flaws with the beast, as I am using the Ronin, Imp and Nutcracker combo. It doesn't allow me to gain any energy with my midliner, and it can be taken down in 3 hits by an aquatic or a bird card, meaning if I get to their midliner and they get to mine, I'm more often or not relying on my bird to take out both of the cards, meaning if they have, as we talked about, the upstream swim on the aquatic card, it can become faster than my bird and then has the ability to take out all of my cards. So this is where the complications can come in, and why this game is so simple on the surface but gets really complicated as you go deeper. You want your midliner to potentially earn you some energy as well as being able to hit back hard. Finally, the backliner. This is the person you want to be fastest in your team and also the most hard hitting. A lot of people choose bird or aquatic cards as your backliner, as these are often the fastest. And again, as we talked about with the combos of the aquatic card, they can become faster than the birds and are able to take them out. However, the birds have a lot of advantage with some backdoor cards, which allows them to attack the backliner as the first hit. I, again, unfortunately didn't do enough research in the beginning to actually get a backdoor card for my bird. Therefore, I have to sort of rely on just taking it one by one. However, that is something you can learn from my own experience. Your tank wants to take a lot of damage and gain some energy or cards for you. Your midliner can also gain some energy, but doing a little bit of damage as well. And your backliner, you want it to be fast and you want it to do a lot of damage. That's your aim for these and how you're going to win more games. Okay, this is probably my favorite one out of them all. Reading your opponents. This is the challenging part, but one that's going to allow you to win more games. And these are things that you really don't hear anywhere apart from the pros talking about it. You can use your opponents and their cards to your advantage. When you start any game, click on all of the players that you are playing against and see what cards they have, because that gives you an idea of what sort of player they are and potentially what they could have in the beginning. Me, for example, I often come up against plant cards as the tank in the front. And I have the beast that sometimes has the single combat and the double nutcracker combo. If I'm able to pull that out in my first hand draw and the plant doesn't play anything, I can kill the plant in round 1, meaning I have a lot of advantage over what they can play in their future. Now again, they can have defensive cards as well as their own cards that they're drawn. So what you can see is to try to manipulate what cards you can use to be able to take advantage early on in the game to gain more energy, get more cards, and get your opponent's energy down so that they don't have the ability to wipe out your Axies in the first few rounds. The really interesting one, and I only learned this maybe last week, each card that you have in an Axie can only be pulled out twice every 6 rounds. So if you've played 2 of the same card with one Axie in round 1, you will not get those 2 cards again until round 6. And this is where, by keeping track of what your opponent is using, you can then use this to your advantage about what you can play and how you can use it. If they have used everything that they can gain energy in round 1 and it hasn't actually worked because you used all your energy as well, you know that you have a big advantage here and a chance to actually take more energy from them when they hold off on one round, or just completely obliterate them as they don't have 4 energy to make a combo to completely wipe out one of yours. This also leads me on to keeping track of how much energy your opponent has. Both of you start with 3 in the beginning and you gain 2 each round that finishes. So if they don't steal anything and they spend all 3 in the first round, For the next round, they're only going to have 2 energy to play. This again can come back to knowing that if they only have 2 energy to play and haven't done that much damage, they're more likely going to hold off this round to wait on the next round. This is when you could potentially steal some of their energy, lower it even further, and allow you to put a full on attack, put them on the defensive. This game is really complicated when you go deeper into it, and it allows you to earn more SLP in the long run if you just start to understand how the game works and how you can become better at it. I use this every time I'm playing the game to know exactly what does the most damage and where. If we take for example a bird versus a midliner beast, I know that if I play 3 cards, I'm able to take out the beast in 1 round. That means I can play for the future of the game, understand more about how I can use my axes to their advantage, and really move forward and win more. This is just a simple understanding of what does more damage to what class and what does less, and it will really allow you to choose your cards in the right way rather than just wasting them for no reason. Final thing is, the only real way to learn is to actually play the game, and I know it's an investment in itself and it can be quite hard to justify paying the money to get into the game, but it is a lot cheaper than it used to be, because I paid $1,600 to get into the game and I made a team recently and I could get in for $1,200, so it definitely has decreased in price. But I know it can still be quite daunting paying that money for a game that you don't actually know if you'll even like or enjoy to play for the long run. So some of the mistakes I made, I'm just going to lay out in general with the cards I've chosen, or just anything that I've thought and came to my mind if you've just started the game or thinking about starting. The energy gain cards are so important in anything. You want the most energy you possibly can, and the more energy you have, the more choices you're going to have to actually play combo cards. And this also adds on to, you want a lot of cards in your deck. You don't want to waste all of your cards because you only get 3 each round. If you get Axies that can actually add additional cards to your deck, it can be really good when playing defensive modes. The second thing I wish I'd done was buy a faster bird. I've got a 58 speed bird and I believe they can go up to 61. So if I'm ever playing against a bird that has a backdoor card, I am kind of screwed because I need to use my bird on the plant. That's the usual tank, and it only does base damage, meaning that it's actually quite hard to take out the tank if they're using all defensive plays, and my bird is probably gone by round 2 or 3, and then I've got nothing that's faster. I also wish I'd made my tank slower so that it was the slowest on the field, because when they try to steal energy from you, you then can steal it back, whereas in right now, my plant is actually quite fast compared to some others. Therefore, if I'm stealing energy from them, all we do is steal it back next time. This is where I would make the potential changes in all of my cards to make them have more energy gains and to make them do more damage or faster in certain areas. And the final thing was playing PvP in the beginning. When you first start, especially for the first week, just play adventure mode. Just understand the game, learn what the game is about, and learn what your cards actually do. Now again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with playing PvP whenever you want. You can do what you like, but I know for me, I was just playing PvP in the beginning and getting absolutely swamped every time I played the game, and it just made me annoyed. So learn your cards, learn which combos work, and there's even things you can do with 2 axes to make them work together so that one does damage, then one can get taken out and the other actually does damage before it can get killed. So there's a lot of things you can do and manipulation you can do with your cards to make them work better together. These are just 5 of the top things I wish I knew before and once I'd actually get started on Axie Infinity. If there's any questions you have, be sure to let me know, as I'd love to try and help you either get started or just learn more about what you need to know. If you've enjoyed this video, talk about crypto and other things in the NFT space as I actually learn and go through it myself. I'm new to all of this, but I'm really enjoying this community and everything that I've been part of. I know the video on the screen right now will be something that you'll love to watch. Have a fantastic